Well, the idea of a national divorce is not new. We did have a civil war at one point, if you recall. But as the political values and style of governance, they move further and further apart among the two parties, the separation is kind of happening organically. A few months ago, Marjorie Taylor Greene was ridiculed in mentioning the thought of a national divorce. She tweeted this, quote, "We need a national divorce. We need to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government." I happen to agree with her, but turns out she was onto something, though. As usual, we didn't need the government to right any wrongs or the ship here. A divorce didn't require government intervention at all. It happened because of policy of various state governments had already imposed. Look, the capitalists and free market of America responded. There were some warning signs, liberal states, during COVID and the last Census Bureau also. The blue states were losing congressional seats to red states. But the most recent news is that northeastern states, specifically New York, New Jersey, financial capital of the world, they're no longer the greatest economic output in America by GDP standards. They're replaced by the southeastern side of America. In 1950, though, 28% of America lived in the Northeast, while only about 16% lived in the South. In the 90s, it pretty much broke even population-wise, but they were still trailing in economic output. But by last year, those numbers had completely flipped upside down. The South, specifically Florida, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, and the Carolinas, now comprising 26% of the population. The Northeast dwindled down to a mere 19%. Now, according to Pew Research, Florida gained residents 10 times faster than the typical state welcomed in the most newcomers, mainly from other states, but also from abroad. The next fastest states, Idaho, South Carolina, similarly owe their population gains in migration rather than birth rates. New York and Illinois had the greatest declines primarily because of people moving out of the states, end quote. The bigger impact through is that it's all business. Most of who historically moved to the South for retirement. That was the general flight of most people. So they didn't need the jobs down there. That's not the case anymore. In 2020, during the height of the pandemic, and this is where it started to all get political, obviously, blue states had very strict regulations on who could operate a business and their masking policies and even vaccine mandates like New York City tried to do. Now, given the fact that a lot of these businesses were already looking for a way out of places with 8-9% taxes on top of the rest of the stuff they're paying, this newfound acceptance of remote work possibilities, combine that with a little bit more freedom, no wonder these businesses pulled chalks. Look, wealth from deep blue liberal bastions, they poured into the same 6 southern states that, not ironically, are more free. Where'd those people come from? Weird. Blue states like these. New York, California, New Jersey, Oregon, Illinois, just to name a few. And this is not me saying this. This is according to the Fraser Institute. That measures economic freedom across America. Now, the wealth transfer from liberal states to conservative states is honestly remarkable. And this is from IRS data. I know I don't put too much faith in them after the whole Hunter Biden thing, but it shows an estimated $100 billion in income has been gained by the southeastern states. Northeastern lost $60 billion recently. That includes New York City. And this is where you need to grab your liberal friends, neighbors, in my case, in-laws, make them watch. The states that lost the most were the liberal utopias. High tax, max regulation, big government, liberal states. They're bleeding population. Conversely, the 6 fastest growing states are all Republican. Yeah, I get it. North Carolina does actually have a Democratic mayor or governor, but he's virtually powerless against a very strong Republican Lieutenant Governor, Mark Robinson, who leads a strong Republican state House and Senate. But if there's one takeaway, if your liberal friends come to these states, do not bring those garbage policies with you. That is the reason you left. It shouldn't be hard. But even Gavin Newsom tried to combat this.
How can the Democratic Party, 8 of the top 10 murder states are Republican states, 7 of the top 10 dependent states, God forbid, dependent states are red states. The life expectancy in the South, and they're not expanding Medicaid and prenatal care and providing child care, is jaw-dropping. How they all continue to get reelected is beyond me.
It's beyond me. He doesn't understand. That's the best part of this whole thing. Yes, Gavin, I know economics is hard for liberals. That's why people are leaving your state. because you don't understand. Oh, and he also waded into gun crime later in that same interview, where he's like, oh, 8 out of 10 top gun crime states are Republican states. I mean, that's rich, considering the rapper 50 Cent, who was shot in the face by somebody committing a gun crime, came out and predicted the downfall of Los Angeles due to his soft on crime policies. By the way, the overwhelming majority of the gun crime that Newsom mentioned in those red states, I did a little digging, they come from the cities that are Democrat-controlled, where they have liberal DAs dropping people out on the street the day after they commit a crime. Nice try, Gavin. Look, it's not really up for debate. Capitalism is better than socialism, period, full stop, end of story. And that's what the libs are ultimately trying to do. They're trying to enforce socialism for power. Don't be fooled. But I'd ask you this. Can you name me one capitalist country that people are fleeing in like makeshift rafts across rough seas to get into socialist country? No, that doesn't exist. Some people don't have the means or opportunity to leave these blue states yet, but many that can, especially those in the upper income brackets, they're making their way out. The national divorce is happening. What will be the most interesting, though, is to see if some of these dense blue state governors can put their egos aside, take a hint, and change the policy.